We're going to start with Chris Stock from InsideTheU. Chris, if you had a question for Coach Likens.
Yeah, Coach, with the freshmen, I know you got a week with them there in the spring, and just getting to know them a little bit more now, summer, and then these first 4 practices. Your impressions of each one of them as you've got to know them a little bit better?
Yes, I'll start with Keyshawn Smith. I thought that, first of all, did a great job bringing these guys in. They're all pretty good athletes and great kids, phenomenal kids, good people. But Keyshawn Smith is an outstanding athlete, great quickness, great speed, all of that stuff. Obviously, he's just a freshman learning the position, but, I don't know how this year is going to be. There's all kinds of things that could happen during the season and all that stuff. But he is certainly practicing in a way and making plays in a way that it's definitely possible that, you could see him in a game this year, obviously. So Restrepo, I feel Xavier Restrepo, feel the same way about him. He's just a really hard work guy, no nonsense dude, tough as nails, really smart. Takes great pride in doing everything right. He's very similar to Marshall Few in that way. So extremely happy that we have him. He makes our room better, pays attention to details. Just a great dude. Dazzlin Worsham, very similar body type and kind of things that he brings to the table, same as Keyshawn. And he runs probably right now, if I would say that, is grading them as pure route runners, I would say that Daz probably is really ahead of a lot of freshmen at this point in time. He had to have been coached really well in high school and come from a good program. You can tell that by the way he runs his routes, so we're pleased with him. Michael Redding's been battling a few things here and there. He had the wrist thing coming into the spring, and then, he's been hobbled just a little bit during fall, so I haven't had a chance to see him, but I am extremely excited about him. Those 4 guys now, I'm going to tell you, you're going to look back in a couple years and you're going to say, wow, that was a really good wide receiver class.
Awesome. Coach, next up, we're going to go to Manny Navarro from The Athletic. Manny, if you had a question for Coach Likens.
Hey, Coach Likens. Obviously, it was a little bit of an unusual offseason, with the weight room and everything else. I'm wondering physically who looks the most different maybe from when we saw them in the spring, who's made maybe the greatest gain physically, and how maybe that's helping them on the field through these first few practices.
Yeah, some of our guys are they're just their body types, they're slender type guys and they're built for speed and quickness. So I wouldn't say that I could just look and physically tell. Got more so probably the freshmen, more so the freshmen. I've seen the weight gains and the body changing, over that time frame.
Awesome. Coach, next up, we're going to go to Susan Miller-Degnan at the Miami Herald. Susan, if you had a question for Coach Likens.
Hey, Coach Likens, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. So it seems like the UM coaches have been very vocal about being supportive of the players' wishes to play this season.
Sure.
Do you believe it's in the best interest of the players and their supporting cast, like you guys, coaches and others, to have a season? Why or why not? And I want to, ask you your thoughts about their idea for a union, and if you know that the ACC will indeed be playing this season.
Susan, I would love to answer those questions at some point in time, but I'm not going to do that. That's a question you're going to have to ask Coach Diaz or our AD or our president. But like I said, I would love to, but I just don't think that it's proper for me to do that right now. But I do think that I will say this,
Right.
What a safe environment we are in. What Coach Diaz has done to make this environment safe, and the details that he thinks about, talks about, we bring to the table in our staff meetings, it blows my mind sometimes of how far he thinks ahead of things and how much it is 100% and completely surrounded around their health, their protection, and their safety. And I just think he has done, just an amazing job.
Awesome. Coach, next up, we're going to go to David Ferrones of the South Florida Sun Sentinel. David, if you had a question for Coach Likens.
Sure. Hi, Coach. I
Hey.
guess I'll try two questions. One, a little bit piggybacking off the last topic. Hopefully you can talk about this, just how the team responded today in practice with all the uncertainty going on, just coming back the very next night and practicing. And also, I wanted to ask about Jeremiah Payton, just ask about a personnel question and, him in his second season.
Sure.
You didn't have last season, but just the strides you see him making since the spring.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll answer your first question. Since we started practice, it was like I have a 10-year-old son, and it was like Christmas Day, man, every time we go out to practice. That's how much these kids just want to play football. There's so much craziness going on in our country right now and going on in the world, and it's like 2 hours of just relief that they can just put all of their worries and cares aside. And we have such a close-knit group of guys. They love each other. They're brothers. And it just reminds me of being young and going out and playing backyard football and how much fun and enjoyable that is. And that's how they have taken these last couple days. They don't know if this practice is going to be their last. And it's just amazing. We had the greatest spirited practice tonight. It was amazing. And it just shows you how much they dearly, dearly love this sport and how much they need this sport. Jeremiah Payton. One thing I can tell you about Jeremiah Payton, his talent level is as good as anybody that I've ever coached. All right, and that's saying a lot. I've coached a couple first-round draft picks. Jeremiah has that type of talent, and he's just got to get it put all together. He knows that. We've had great discussions about that. He was kind of out of sorts a little bit last year. And this year, he's got to start progressing towards getting towards his talent level. So I'm excited and want him to get there just as much as everybody does. And so we're just waiting on him to do it. And I think he can do it. And I hope he does do it.
Great. Coach, we've got time for a few more. We're going to go to Matt Shodell at Kane Sport. Matt, if you had a question for Coach Likens.
Oh, hey, Coach. I guess the perception from the outside is like Harley, Pope, Wiggins are the most experienced, might be the main guys. Can you maybe say if that's the case, and then also how many receivers you want to shuttle in and out, just given how fast-paced the offense goes, assuming that you guys are playing games, obviously?
Sure. I can't imagine going into a game and not playing 5 to 6 guys, getting some form of reps. Now, obviously, you have starters, and they're starters for a reason because through practice and through the process, they have shown they need to be the guys that go out there first and get the majority of the reps. But that's the big thing at practice is we have got to have guys that when those starters are tired, they go in and you don't lose much. The quarterback can't look over to the left and go, you know what, I'm going to stay away from that guy because I don't trust him. And that's what I've been preaching to my receivers is every single rep, every rep in Skelly, every rep in one-on-one, every rep in team is an opportunity to build that trust. So when the quarterback looks over to the left, he goes, oh, okay, yeah, he's out there. I got it. And he doesn't worry about, so-and-so is supposed to be in there. So that's kind of like our big deal right now. I have a pretty good idea right now who are the top ones and then, the guys like right up underneath them. But we got to get those 2s to start playing like 1s. And that's when you're going to have a really good wide receiver group. That's something that I had like when I was at Cal Berkeley. We had 8 guys. They all went and played in the NFLs, and they just came in and out. And that's the kind of thing that you want to build here.
Awesome. Coach, we're going to go to Barry Jackson at the Miami Herald. Barry, if you had a question for Coach Likens.
Hi, Rob. I was wondering who you have working out of the slot primarily these first 4 days, and also what skills does Restrepo have specifically that you think could make him an effective slot long-term?
He has I'll go with Restrepo first. He just has that he's got the lateral quickness. He's pretty good in there. He's a really good football-minded kid. He understands ball. He understands defensive structure. Those are the guys that you've got to have to play on the inside. They got to understand where linebackers, what they're trying to do. Who's taking my routes away? Who am I stemming? Do I stem a linebacker? Am I stemming a nickel? Am I stemming the safety? You got to kind of be a really savvy player and know defensive structure to play in there. And for his age, he's way above normal for his age. So that's kind of what makes him play. Because if you know where the hole to get into, all right, and then you know the difference between man and zone, I mean, that just makes you such a better player than just blindly going out and running your route. But he understands all of the defensive structure stuff. So that gives him a chance to be, you know, a lot or way ahead of schedule. And then what was the other question? Who's playing in the slot, right? You know, we got Mike Harley there. Over this next couple weeks, we're going to, you know, just because, and we got Marshall Few, but you never know how this season's going to go, you know, injuries, whatever. And so we got to start trying some other people there and just kind of looking at him, because some guys can't play inside. They just don't have that feel. And some guys are a lot more natural than others. So right now we're looking at Harley. We're looking at Marshall Few. You know, we're looking at Restrepo. And I'm going to start kind of dabbling around and looking at some other guys in there, just giving them a shot to see if they have that natural feel.
Awesome. Coach, last but not least, we have David Lake of 24/7 Sports. David, if you had a question for Coach Likens.
Yeah, Coach, I want to shoot 2 questions at you, I guess. First off, just your general big picture take on your group. And, you know, would you say it's a talented group? Because I think there's not much returning production, right? And maybe the snapshot view, you know, there could be questions on your group just because of that. So your take on if you got some playmakers in your group. And then also, you know, one of the benefits, I guess, to going to this new style of offense was the simplicity. So in, you know, understanding it's early in camp, how do you feel like your guys are picking up the offense? Do you feel like they kind of have it down pretty well at this point, or is there a ways to go still in that regard?
You know, if you look at it, just like you pointed out, this is really kind of our 8th practice together. You know, I mean, this would be like day 8 in the spring, you know. And, you know, when I start thinking about we got to play a game here pretty soon, man, my stomach starts rumbling a little bit, right? So, you know, obviously coaches are never satisfied. I think we're doing okay picking up the offense. But to answer your question, yes, we do have playmakers. However, they're inexperienced, man. And I know this, you know, I've been doing this for a long time. Fans don't want to hear that stuff. They don't want to hear about inexperience. They don't want to hear about growing pains and all that stuff. I don't want to hear about them as a coach. But there are going to be times where, like, a guy's supposed to go inside and he goes outside, you know, and it's just, it's the nature of playing young players and inexperienced players. But it's going to be how good we can become will be how fast that we learn from our mistakes. Not just in practice, but game day situations, man. You know, game day situations. Does a guy know to get out of bounds in 2-minute drill? All right, young guys have a tendency to cut it back in the middle of the field. Everybody's going, what's going on? Well, he's never been in that situation before outside of practice. Little things like that can have a tendency to drive you crazy at the beginning of the year. All right, so we're going to have to, how quick can we learn from the first game? How good can we get from the first game to the second game to the third game? You know, I'm kind of waiting to see how our guys respond to that. And that'll determine the fate of how good this group is, because we do have playmakers. We do have athletic guys. But like you said, they don't have any experience.
Awesome. Coach Likens, thanks for taking a few minutes with us tonight, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you soon. Good luck in the coming days here at camp.
Guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Susan. I wasn't ducking the question. Well, I was ducking the question. I'm sorry. Take care.